Welcome to the Serene-ish podcast. We're two friends trying for serenity, but life happens.
I'm Larissa.
And I'm Brenda.
And we're glad you're here.
Each week we share honest conversations about navigating everyday life, faith, relationships, soul care, and all the messy in-betweens.
You'll hear reflections, a little laughter, and hopefully encouragement to find peace in your own journey, even if it's just serene-ish. Welcome to the Serene-ish podcast, where we are two friends and living normal lives, trying to experience contentment and peace and depth in our lives and be present to ourselves and one another. So I just want to say welcome to everybody listening, and we're so grateful that you are taking the time to join us for this conversation. Brenda and I are continuing a conversation that we had earlier. And so if you haven't listened to part one, I encourage you to do that. But it's basically about holding space for others. And you and I, Brenda, have had so many conversations about how to do this. We do this in our work. We try to do this in our normal lives. And from the earlier part of that conversation, I think it felt like we wanted to continue talking about these things, and a variety of things came up for you and for me as we were exploring what it means to especially hold space for folks when either something profound or deep is emerging, or there's something hard that somebody's going through. And I think maybe the inner response is like empathy or care for this person and trying to be a loving presence in the midst of whatever they're going through. So before we dive into that, I just want to find out, are there things that emerged for you as you were even going back and listening to that conversation or thinking about the things that we were already talking about?
Yeah. I think there's been more conversations I've been in lately about practicing, presence with people. Mm-hmm. And, it reminded me that this is something that is learned. Most of us haven't been taught this growing up. We haven't been taught or modeled this in many of our communities. And so there's some unlearning that needs to happen, but there's learning that can happen. Mm. And I'm in a couple of spaces where I feel like they're really trying to figure out how to be intentional about doing that. So I'm actually really hopeful in having these types of conversations that we can learn, and realizing that for myself, those moments of awareness of realizing, oh my goodness, I'm not actually practicing presence with people. I'm not holding space with people. I'm trying to manage them. And, knowing that it wasn't coming from a place of being malicious or anything like that. It's just all I knew. This is how you care for people. And then once I was able to have an awareness of it, then I could start to recognize, okay, where is this coming from? What is a different way to do this? Let me practice this and really start incorporating that. So I would just like to say, for everyone listening, if you've listened to part one, you're diving into part two, please listen to this with a gentle heart for yourself. Don't beat yourself up too much about this. Awareness is really a powerful thing. I think that we need to also look at awareness with action is the more powerful thing. So see this as an opportunity that as I'm gaining awareness, instead of moving into the place of feeling shame, move into that other space of opportunity. And now I can change, I can grow, I can learn new ways. So please, when I say be gentle, that's what I mean, not inactive, but don't shame yourself right now. You have an opportunity to learn a different way. And that's exciting.
I agree. That is exciting. And it feels kind of expansive in the sense of we can always be learning. We can always be growing. And it does. There's the beginning elements of like seeing other people do it a different way, probably, right? Like relearning and having different models, or just noticing what's happening in ourselves. Sometimes my best teacher in life, and I think you're getting at this, is kind of re-looking at what maybe happened recently, like maybe yesterday, or a conversation I had, and then thinking like, how was that? How do I think that was for the other person? Or what did I notice happening in myself that I can grow from, or that is trying to teach me something? And so I think that element of, yes, we can be curious even about ourselves in the midst of this. And I think, like what you just said, gracious and kind with ourselves. So I love that reminder. Yeah, we're constantly learning. I mean, I just feel like, even yesterday, I think of a thing that I said to my kid. It was trying to solve the problem for me. Honestly, it was, if I look back on it, and I think I said something to them to like correct them about something, but it really actually wasn't paying attention to, well, what is this person in front of me experiencing, and what might they need from me? And I realized that, and I was able to apologize and kind of learn something from that. But yep, those are always teaching us.
You apologize to your children?
Ooh, we can talk
I
about
love
that.
it.
I know.
Yes, that could be a whole conversation right there. That you apologize to your kids. Yes.
Good apologies. It's hard.
Yes, apologies hard. Are you kidding me? Man.
Yeah.
They are really hard. But yes, definitely. I love when I hear that, apologizing to our kids.
Yeah. So back to like holding space for folks. And we're kind of talking a little bit about this in conversation number 1, but just the element of like learning or trying to navigate what the person in front of you needs. So, okay, there's no roadmap, right? That's the challenge. There's no roadmap in general, and there's certainly no roadmap if part of what we're trying to pay attention to is a specific moment and a specific person in front of us. So maybe that's a friend, maybe that's a family member, maybe that's somebody who's coming to you to be a good listening ear, who knows? But just, I guess, depending on that context, like all of those factors influence how you, Brenda, or me, Larissa, are trying to figure out how to navigate, how am I holding space for this person that is safe and loving and supportive, right? So what are ways that you do that in lifetime, or what are ways that you think about that before or after an interaction with somebody? Like, what are you checking?
I think you're exactly right. There's no very clear, clean 3 steps to figuring out what a person actually needs when they're in a moment, whatever that looks like. So I think with that said, there needs to be an understanding that there's a strong possibility that we could miss it too. What I try to look at is, did I immediately assume something about that person? Did I at least make the effort to try to ask, to be curious? That's where so even if I do miss it, I know that I didn't walk in that with just a whole bunch of assumptions. I did try. So some of the things that I'll try to do is, if you're really close friends with someone, there's some things that you probably already know. Mm-hmm. There's some allowances that you already have with that person in their relationship. And so that could be really beneficial. The other thing that I do is I just practice asking the question. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes we'll ask someone, is there anything that I can do? Mm-hmm. And that could be an overwhelming question. And it is hard because I've literally have sat there with my phone wanting to help a person, but not having enough context. And the only thing I can think of is there anything I can do? Mm-hmm. Right? So I know that it's really hard, but as much as that's hard on my end, I feel like can be even more overwhelming on the other person's end, right? So what I'll try to do is make a list of different things and say, you know, would any of these be helpful, or does it spark another idea of what could be helpful? And so I have something, it's in like my notes. I can't remember like how it's all set up, but for my local context, it's more of, hey, I want to be able to help. So you get to pick from these different items unless something else comes up. I'm going to be around, Albertsons. I can run into the grocery store, and pick up some items for you. I can pick up food and just leave it at your front door. Or I can ring the doorbell and give you a big hug and leave you with the stuff. So I give them a list of items, and all of them go from being a little bit more distant to a little bit more in your space. We have different degrees. You get to pick. This is you pick your adventure kind of help text, and they get to choose. And so it felt really like corny the first time that I did it, but it actually really worked because it gave them options to think about. It also helped them to see that I was really serious. Yeah. Because sometimes you get the text, is there anything I can do to help? And I at least start to feel, one, overwhelmed. I'm trying to figure out what can happen. And two, probably shuts down pretty quickly because I feel guilty putting something on you, because maybe I do need someone to stop at the store for me. Like, I'm not going to ask them to do that. But if you get that text and I'm saying, I'm going to actually be in the neighborhood, I can stop at the grocery store. And I've had that response. Someone just had a baby and they have 2 little kids already, sent me a list of like 4 or 5 items to get from the grocery store. So ran up there, got them, dropped them off at the house, rang the doorbell, and left. Yeah. So that's what I think the whole thing of like asking, but maybe trying to be a little bit more specific in the ask so it's not as overwhelming for the other person. Yeah. And let them be the ones to decide. And then honor what they say. Yeah. Honor what they say.
Yeah, that really can be great. Hard too. I like that. And I like giving, you're right, because there's an awareness in there that some people have decision fatigue or are overwhelmed or do not have the capacity to ask for help in a direct kind of way. So it's kind of allowing them to have a little bit of choice. Yes, choice and agency, but also giving them options that hopefully minimizes the amount of decision fatigue, or allows them to ask for help that in a way that maybe speaks into like the reality that not everyone even knows what they want and need. So it's kind of like putting that out there. For one, I think I'm the kind of personality that would be super helped by that. So I love that that's what you do. And I feel like I've tried similar things with different people depending on different moments, right? And I like also, the hard thing is with that, it's like, okay, of course, the people who are most like closest to you proximity wise, there's like a bigger variety of things you can do, right? Oh, I can drop something off at your door. I can sit with you for an hour if that is helpful. And then, of course, you get into like, well, what about people, community or friends or family who live farther away? And then you kind of get creative with how to do that. But I love that we have technology, we have DoorDash, we have things that Venmo, we can like literally, right? We can send people little gifts. There was a friend who I have not seen her in at least a decade. And we're not like close friends anymore, but we were coworkers for a while. So I knew her very well for a season, but it's been quite a long time since that. And in the last couple years, I forget what it was, something happened that maybe I shared about it on Facebook, something that felt hard emotionally to me. And she saw that post and she immediately messaged me And she's like, "Hi, I'm thinking of you. I would love to send you something in the mail. Can I get your address?" And I was like, "Okay, thank you. That's nice." And so I sent her my address. And then a few days later, a little care package showed up in my mail. There was like a candle and a note card and something else that it was so simple, but and again, she and I, it's not like we're so connected presently, right? But to me, it was such a lovely gesture. Like it brought tears to my eyes because I was like, this friend, oh, she cares about me, and she's like doing something to extend that. And I'm not some big, I'm like, gift giving is not a huge part of like how I express care for people. But like to receive that was so lovely.
Right.
So anyway, I think back to what you were saying.
So, okay, let me ask you,
Yeah.
if gift giving is not a part of your love language, is gift receiving?
I don't know.
So what was it about the gesture that was so meaningful to you?
Right. I think it was in that moment just a concrete gesture, really tangible. And her note was really thoughtful. So just like having her express some kind encouragement to me was so nice. And yeah, I don't know. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that because it's something concrete, something you could put your hands on, right?
Yeah.
Something physical that you could see, you could touch, you could smell. It was almost like it was activating certain things within you, and that she sent that. Things like that, I also look at, like when you get a card in the mail, right? I look at, because that's not common anymore, I think about the time that they took to either go look for the cards, unless this is a person that's always like mailing cards and they have it on their desk. I know what I have to do if I'm sending a card. I'm digging through boxes. I'm running to the craft store because I know I have there's boxes of cards hiding from me in this house. I know it. And so, oh my gosh, they took this time to go and get this card. And then they sat down and they physically put in the effort to like write this out. And they had to get stamps. How many people keep stamps on hand anymore? And they had to go and put it in the mail. Did they go to the post office? I'm like, I nerd out on that kind of stuff because there were all these details that went into them sending that.
Yeah.
And so for her, the same thing, all those details that went into her sending that care package to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like going back to what you were saying earlier, like it feels, of course, the more you build trust with people, the more relationship you have, the more you know them, right? And then you can live life and see, well, what helps this person feel supported and cared for? And there can be more or less direct conversations about that, right? Like, what do you need from me? Or in the future, if something like this comes up, like how do you feel supported from me? Right. Yeah. And I think all those questions are good.
That's a really good question, because I'm wondering, like, what would it look like if we were to even ask those types of questions within our communities, specifically like in our faith communities? What does it look like for you to feel cared for, to be cared for? And we all could share the variety of ways that have shared the stories of the varieties of ways that we have felt held by somebody, that we felt seen and heard. And that is just something that could be helpful. I'm trying to think. I don't know if that came up, because I think that's in a conversation like that. That's where the idea came for me to put on my list to stop by the grocery store. I think one of the people in our group had a newborn, and she put that out there, and then everyone else was like, thank you for saying that, because we needed permission, because for us to say that, it felt like, oh, that's going to be weird. They don't want us to do their groceries like for them. And But by her saying that, and she was like, yeah, as new moms, like within their own like community, like of just new parents, that age group, like it's so hard for us to get to the, and they don't want to have everything delivered all the time because it costs more, right? And so it gave us permission. So yeah, that'd be great if in our communities, over a glass of wine, we just shared like dinner or whatever, like, hey, how do you feel cared for when things come up for you? Tell me some stories.
That's a great...
We just learn from each other.
I love that. Okay, wait, back up. Are you the kind of person to like tell people, maybe it's your closest friends or your, inner circle of folks, but like if you in lifetime know you need something from somebody else or from others in general, will you communicate that, or are you not, does that feel challenging?
My family, meaning my husband and my children. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, I can say emotionally what I need right now, but it's very practical to the situation. So I have like done where I've reached out to a small group of people and I've just said like, I'm kind of having a moment right now, but I need to put this out there. So there's a place of accountability. I was really angry about something. And I'm not asking for anyone to fix anything. I'm just stating this is how I'm feeling right now. Mm-hmm. So I was really clear. Like, I just need you to hear, I'm just accountability. So in one respect. In another situation, I remember telling someone, I had just gotten some really like heavy emergency type news, and I was out of town, and I was working retreat, and I had to tell the person that I was working with. I didn't have to. I could have just like gone through it, but I did communicate with her. Here's what happened. I'm okay to keep moving forward, but I will probably be a little quieter. You may not see me as engaged. I'm probably going to hide behind some of these other tasks so I can just keep myself regulated. So in that way, I can express what I need, but because I'm in a situation, I need some kind of like tethering. But for me to be able to tell someone, I would just love for you. I would love if someone got me some of that vegetable soup from my favorite Chinese place down the street. Or I really need some bone broth and I cannot fathom getting to Sprouts, right? Like, that's a hard one. I don't think I've ever asked anybody. But if you offered it, if you sent me a text like that with my little list to pick from, my little brain would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I feel like the challenge, and back to what you were saying about like sharing either in your faith community or just like your inner circle of friends or whoever those people are, right? Who could have the opportunity and have the desire, like they desire to care for you, right? Or they have the desire to care for me. I know that just cognitively, but in the moment, it's just hard to like figure out how to do that. But I love the challenge of like, we create my own wish list. Like I, Larissa, create my own, like, here's what I need. Here are the best ways to care for me when I'm like really having a rough day or week or month. And this is my little preemptive wish list, in case of emergency. And I'm just going to send it to Steve at minimum and a few friends at minimum, and then they just have it.
Right. See, I think that's a good time to have the conversation, right? All the pressure is off. I'll give you my list. There's the vegetable soup at my favorite Chinese spot. There's the tomato soup at Panera. And please accompany it with a baguette. Do not put an apple in there. A baguette and a lot of butter.
Wait. Back up. Apple? What do you mean apple?
I don't want an apple.
Like apple and soup?
So you get a soup from Panera and you get a side.
Oh.
And they give you like an apple or chips or a banana.
Oh, that's an option. We don't have Panera here.
Oh. Okay.
I was like, who's giving you soup plus an apple? I see.
Panera here is our
Panera.
little whatever sandwiches. Supposed to be like a bakery. They don't do like their own baking anymore, but
Okay,
But yeah,
so
that's
Panera
my
with a
comfort.
baguette. Wait,
With the
tell
baguette
me,
and tons of butter.
what's your favorite Chinese spot that you're talking about?
It's just this little place, like
Nearby?
Not that. Yeah,
And then
it's
what
probably like
kind
a
of soup?
10-minute drive.
It's vegetable?
It's just a vegetable soup. And then if I want to get really wild and crazy, like if we are just like partying, we're gonna get wonton soup.
Yum. That's
Then we're wild and crazy.
that is my love language. We would make that. We make that around like Chinese holidays.
Really?
Oh yeah, we have like wrapping parties. You know how like folks make tamales,
like the
tamale
tamales.
party?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
the dumplings.
That's the wrapping party. I want to be a part of that.
Oh my gosh. Join us. Join us.
Yeah, I love it. There's something like about the broth that they use. Like, it's just, but it's just that spot. I'm really picky with it. I don't like Asian food where it's like it's been sitting there, like in the heaters, like whatever. I can't do that. Gerson can eat that like all day.
Have you ever been to like a real full-on Chinese dinner where you're like sitting at a round table and a big like round lazy Susan that spins is in the center and they bring out hot dishes like one at a time? Have you ever done
One at
this?
a time. Okay, that was how we would have Chinese food back in the day when I was younger. A little kid, and we'd go for food, and you'd order. It wasn't like plates, like it was like little entrees, and we had the big and that took up most of the table, and you put everything down. I can't find like places that do it like that anymore.
Maybe Chinatown and stuff.
Oh, I probably have.
But
to
if you go
there.
to like a real Chinese restaurant, most of them have
See,
that
and that's probably
situation.
it. Most of the where I've really enjoyed the food is when I've had friends take me to like a legit Chinese place, a legit Korean place, or Thai place. But like the little fast food joints, like it doesn't really sit well in my stomach.
Yeah,
it's like
it's
I
heavy
just
stuff,
don't.
right?
Yeah, it feels super heavy. So this is our goat moment right now that we're just gonna full dive into.
A whole just Chinese food is what we're talking about today, guys.
So everyone knows. Just send me some good soup from a place that actually cooks as they are going. They don't just keep it in their little heating bin. So
That's funny. Also, I feel like last time you mentioned your cereal love, right? Like there was like
yes,
just
I love cereal at night. I love cereal at night. Caramello is my favorite candy bar. So someone did. Okay, this says something about me because most of the things that have happened are people leaving it at my front door. So you know that they know me, that I've gone into my turtle shell, but I'm not completely detached. I just need some space, right? So this person they just saw a caramello. They knew it's my favorite candy bar. You don't see it very often. They picked it up. They were thinking of me. Thing is, they kept it in their car for a bit, so it had melted, solidified. So finally, they came and they dropped it at the front door, and I saw them on the ring on my camera, and they run off and they text me to tell me that there's something there, and then later they're like, "Well, I've been sitting in my car for a little bit," and I just felt like there's nothing that a refrigerator can't fix, so I threw it in the fridge and let it solidify and ate that puppy later.
nice.
It was so good.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's so good. I love that you have friends who know you enough that you love food and that you want to be left alone. So like that little combo.
That sounds terrible.
No,
right?
That sounds
I love
not
it. And
terrible.
leave me alone.
That sounds not terrible.
No.
And maybe this is why I feel like you and I are similar in the sense of, first of all, like generally when we're with other people, our attention is on that other person. So it's very hard for us to make space for ourselves even when we need it. And I think this is you kind of protecting, like, I actually need to be alone to really, I don't know, somehow feel or process these things. And having other people, it's going to reorient my energy energy or attention in a way that it's actually not helpful right now, and I don't have that capacity. Is that some of how you describe it?
No, that is true. And I think what I have been learning about myself in the midst of that is where I would like to grow is what does it look like for me to receive care in that state that I find myself in when I start to retreat. I'm not saying they're retreating, like getting that completely off the table. I think that it's healthy for me to be able to have some time on my own. But part of the reason that I will retreat and I won't engage when I'm in those moments is because it's too exhausting for me to hold what's happening within me, and then me starting to like care for the other person. Like I start to feel like, let's say if it was you and I'm starting to think about, is this too much that I'm putting on you? What does your time look like? Are you going to walk away feeling like heavy now? So now my energy is now shifting to caring for you.
Right.
And so me pulling away is saying, I don't have that energy to give right now. Like I need to take care of this. So where I'm wanting to grow is, how do I cut that down a little bit more so that I can receive that holding of space where you could say, hey, don't worry about me. I just want to be able to hear how you're doing. And me to actually believe that and engage that. Like that's where I'm wanting to grow a little bit more.
Right. Which that is such a relational negotiation of sorts, right? It's you're kind of like, what are the boundary lines that are kind of actually helpful, right? Helpful limits, helpful boundary lines, and how do both parties, like you and another person, kind of in a way figuring out what works here for both of us, or right, like, and there are times it sounds like, okay, well, it can be more extreme on one end or the other. Maybe right now the person in front of me, not me, but the other person needs more attention and more energy, and that's fine. But there are times when, but I feel like also what you're getting at is it doesn't have to be this like just either or, like maybe there's a gradient somewhere in the middle that, okay, we can kind of figure this out together, so that both people are good with, this dynamic. And maybe it's for a moment, and maybe it's in general, but all of those, I think we're getting at like just how tricky it is to have deep, meaningful relationships that are mutually supportive, right? And mutually caring for one another, depending on people's temperaments, but also like depending on moments, right? If somebody is going through a crisis, that's a different situation than in general how we kind of relate to one another.
Right, right. Have you ever had that kind of a moment where someone is trying to care for you, but your energy has shifted to, like, how do you do as far as receiving that kind of care from people? Do you feel like you're pretty good at receiving it?
I think I'm still learning how to do that. And I think in general, I'm not great at it, I don't think. Maybe similar to you, there are certain people in my life who I know I can like, I can be like super needy around, or I can ask them for help directly. But that circle is very small. It's very small. And I think, I think most of it has to do with, I think you were kind of getting at this too, but like my general mode is to be thinking, what does the other person need and want? And it's just, my own sense of self is a little underdeveloped in that regard. And it's just like a muscle that is atrophied or something, or maybe hasn't even matured ever. But I think I've gotten better at that. I think through like in my marriage, there are times when I'm like, no, this is what I need, and I'm going to be very clear on that. But yeah, I think that it is harder for me, and trying to figure that out better, because I know in my head I'm like, well, first of all, I have needs and I have wants, and there are times when I would love support from my friends and community, But like the jump from knowing that in my head to like doing something about that or acting on that, I think that's the gap that I'm like, I don't know if I know how to do that very well, you know?
How do you think that, because I think there's a lot of people like us in that area, that there's a gap there. Where do you think that that's come from? Like, what was the messaging somewhere that we got that it wasn't okay to be needy in a moment? If you want to use that kind of language, right? Because it feels like that in the moment, right? It's probably appropriate to the situation, but inwardly, that's what I feel too. Like, oh my goodness, girl, get your act together. Like, you're so needy. You need a bowl of cereal at night. Like, what the heck?
I wonder if, let's take a stab at that, because I don't really know. And I think that's a great question to pose for ourselves and for others listening in. My guess is first of all, we live in a world and a society that tells us like being independent is, there's a high value put on that. And usually what that means is like, self-sustaining, not needing help. I think that's generally seen as like, ooh, you've got it together. And I don't know if there's like an extra element of like, as women, like we also extra need to like have it together, because needing things for ourselves, just not a lot of permission is given, possibly. Those are some thoughts. What else?
I agree, especially like as women in today's society, where it can feel like we're constantly having to prove we belong, you know, where if you're a leader, if depending on what it is that you're doing, you have to, if you show any kind of need, then somehow that communicates weakness. So you obviously don't belong. Like, and I'm taking huge leaps when it comes to that. And then just us as women being nurturers, like if you're being very like in generalizing, like as women, moms, things of that sort, there's a constant like output that is going, or giving birth is like outsourced, like this is what's coming out of us. So to be able to receive is something I think that's maybe a little bit more challenging. It can be more challenging for us in that way. For that reason, I think maybe men in receiving could come from different places, but for as women, this is where some of that could be coming from. And I do agree too about this huge drive to being independent. That's the value in being independent. I wonder what it would look like if the value was learning what healthy interdependence look like. And that comes from, you see that in people groups where the culture is very communal. It's not everybody being separate from each other. Like, I'm not saying, everyone's got to live in the same house like for the rest of their lives, but at the same time, like you see a dynamic in those cultures where you have different generations cohabitating, and it has to do a lot with the interdependence in their culture. And so what can we learn from that and make that more of the value?
Yeah, I think those are parts of it. I also wonder if, so much also goes back to our own individual, like, family of origin dynamics. And that could mean, what birth order are you in? Are you the eldest child? Are you the youngest? Right? That can sometimes have bearing on patterns that just get kind of shaped in you automatically. And then also like what got modeled to you by like the key adults in your life, whether that's your parents or grandparents or aunts and uncles if you were raised in that kind of situation. But like, I think all of those things feel like they also probably factor into different ones of us. Like, knowing how to, having a developed sense of like self and also how to in a healthy way, like, serve other people. And I don't know, there's something, I think a lot of that, gets unearthed
So are
in
you,
therapy.
what's your birth order? Are you older, younger, middle?
I'm an
Wait.
oldest child. I'm the one girl, and my younger siblings are two brothers. And this part has shaped me a lot. So we were raised like my family, so my mom, dad, me, and my brothers lived in a house, and we were in the same neighborhood as several other aunts and uncles and all my cousins, or many of my cousins. Yeah, it's a whole long story, but like basically like our parents' generation like was able to like buy plots of land in the same neighborhood. So
Wow.
but I was the oldest of the entire cousin clan that I grew up with. So I think looking back for me, that was very formative in the
Yep.
eldest child of a whole group of people.
Yeah.
So kind of the caretaking element was already baked in there, the being responsible, being a good like model to your younger cousins and siblings. Like, and I'm not saying that I'm not even saying my parents like that was the message that they said to me. It was just more like in the dynamic. Oops.
Right. Right.
And so yeah, that really shaped me.
Yeah. Oh, I would imagine so. How? Okay, that's a story that we got to unpack another time. Because what a cool. You don't hear that happening very often, where like extended family can live so close to each other like that. But yeah, no, and I get that. I'm the oldest as well, and in Gerson, my husband, he's the oldest as well. And so we've even talked about that dynamic in our marriage of both of us being eldest kids, and just how we approach things, how we approach our parenting, like keeping those things in mind. And so, and you mentioned something about things to get worked out in therapy. I think that's one of the, I love having these types of conversations because I think they can bring awareness as to like, why do I do the things that I do? What's happening? And if we want to be able to unpack that, being able to sit with someone that can be a guide in those conversations could really be helpful. And that's where I'm trying to learn how to make that gap a little bit smaller when it comes to my turtle shell moments of, okay, how much of a turtle shell time do I need? And now how can I actually push myself to engage and allow someone to care for me in this very vulnerable, intimate space for me right now?
Right.
How do I allow that to help me a little bit more?
Okay, back to, oh, there's so much there that you said. First of all, Steve and I are both eldest children too.
You are?
Yeah, so that's part of our marriage. Wait, I was going to ask you one other thing. Oh, okay, so you're kind of saying, okay, so you're describing your hiding turtle mode that you go into, and sometimes needing that, and trying to navigate like, well, some of that, I think you said it like this, like some of it is coming out of a place of I don't want to overburden the other person, right? There's like a desire to like not just lump it all on them, and so maybe I'm absorbing it all on myself so that I'm not like burdening somebody. What are like, I guess aside from your family, because they see you all the time, and I don't know if I think that's a whole different dynamic, but are there friends or are there moments where somebody has communicated to you like, no, I'm happy to show up for you and sit with you in this, or it's not a burden, and I like, it's my desire as your friend to like be in this with you. Has that ever, do you feel like you have had those kinds of experiences?
I think at some point I've had several people say something like that to me. When I'm in a good place, you know, when we're just having casual conversation, like now, right? And if someone were to say, and we were talking about this, and someone were to say, well, you know, Bren, I want to be with you in this. You're not a burden, whatnot. I hear that. I don't necessarily receive it into my soul. Do you know what I mean? It's gone in a few layers, but it's not in my soul. I'm not carrying this in my soul. And it's not that I don't believe them. It's me. It's literally, it's the thing of, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
This is me, right? Now, I've had a couple of times, one very specific I'm thinking of, and then another one where it's been in the moment where I'm just feeling really broken. And I probably I probably jerked myself back, because I have done that before. I'll catch myself really allowing myself to be just free, and then I'll catch it and pull myself back. In that moment, the person said something to me, and they were emotional as well, but it was an emotion for me and what had happened and what I was navigating, what I was sharing. And it was just direct looking in my eyes, in the midst of all the messiness, and just calling out. They saw me pull back and just trying to draw me back and saying, I'm here for as long as you need. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. You want to go? Let's go. It was the intensity of it. And that, I received that into my soul because I was so vulnerable at that point. It was just so and I was pulling away, and they pulled me back, and I guess I just felt, and it's not that I don't believe people who have said that when everything is good. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But it's still a different experience when you're in it, and it's messy.
Right.
It's just messy. And that person got in the mess with you.
Right.
And they're saying, I'm here with you. I'm here with you. I'm tethered to the tree. I know you feel like you're in the quicksand. I've got some on me, but I'm tethered. Don't worry, you're not going to sink. I'm with you. It just, yeah, I can still feel it. Just their eyes just looking right into mine of just trying to pierce in the truth of, I'm not leaving. And that was really meaningful.
Yeah, that sounds really powerful, and the kind of thing that you cannot plan for.
No, you can't.
You can't. So you can't, I as your friend could say, you're saying, in a nice moment right now, I can say, look, whenever you go through something hard, I'm happy to be a good friend in the midst of that. Okay.
Right.
That's one thing to say it. Another thing to mean it in the moment. And you cannot manufacture or make that up or fast forward time to create that specific moment, right? Yeah. Because in an actual moment, I don't know, life things might be happening where I actually cannot, even though I want to, and I'm I fully intended to do that. Maybe I can't, or something is different, right? Or I don't know, maybe the intention is still there. I don't know. I think it is powerful how you describe well, there's something that you experienced in those specific interactions with those people that really sunk in because it was actually happening and actually experienced and true, right?
Yeah. So, okay. Off of that, talking about being in the moment, things actually happening. You guys right now in Hawaii are having, how long has the storm been going on?
I feel about 2 weeks of crazy storms.
Craziness. And I'm seeing these images come up on, social media. I'm seeing, just nonstop. So you're in it. How does that look? What does that look like for you to hold space for each other? I know that's a bit broader, but as a community, people that directly, have you guys been reaching out to each other? Do you just ask what each other's need? Do you just know, what does that look like in the midst of something like this that's so big and out of your control, and at the same time you're looking at how is this impacting your own family? What does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, it has been a little crazy. And I think for the most part, I've noticed, at least in our personal experience, like these are the times when you are mostly like checking in with the closest people. So maybe that's your parents or grandma or, neighbors across the street. Close friends who are in a certain neighborhood. So the reality is, we're on an island. We're in a chain of islands, actually. But like, so different ones of us have more or less access to each other. So we have like some friends on the other islands. We can't do anything, but we're just texting them like, how are you guys doing?
You can't drop off any food or
Right. So there's that. And then there's like the actual in live time, like making sure, I don't know, my parents are safe or something, which they are. And, but it was like quick texts and phone calls, like, how is everybody doing? The neighborhoods, I mean, there are some neighborhoods where people have had their power shut off for multiple days because like electricity was down, or like all the major flooding, which that I'm sure has like made it around the news cycles and social media, just because like visually it looks so crazy. But there are entire neighborhoods that are like totally flooded. So yeah, I think it's mostly checking in on folks in lifetime, and then in the aftermath. Right now, I think today and the rest of this week, it's like, I mean, there's actually still some storms happening or some flooding. But I think a lot of folks in around the different islands are now experiencing what damage has been done and how do we clean up, what are the needs around us, who are the most vulnerable that have been the most affected, and how do we as a whole community like circle around those folks. And in any crisis, I mean, this is what happened during the Maui fires. This happened during the Los Angeles fires, right? Like the kind of the immediate crisis and then the aftermath cleanup or aftermath needs. And I think that's such a wide variety of ways to support one another in the community.
Yeah.
And that's on the practical level, but then there's like the emotional level, like how is everyone doing after this like kind of traumatic experience, right? And so I would say right now, to answer your question, like right now it's mostly in the surveying the damage. And like I was just at Costco yesterday, and my friend who works at Costco, she was telling me that Costco is one of the drop-off centers where folks can like make donations, and they're kind of working with some nonprofit organizations in our community to like distribute, toilet paper and canned goods and other non-perishable items to folks who need it. So I think things like that are going on, and yeah, at least here in Hawaii, I think when something like a natural disaster is like impending, it's, I mean, we have hurricane season. So, and we have like, that's just annually, it's hurricane season.
Yeah.
And so you just kind of need to like be ready and ready to respond. So I think there's like a certain kind of like normalcy. Like we anticipate a natural disaster in some ways. And then when it actually hits, I mean, still people are underprepared and not ready and needing to deal with it. And I think right now also a huge part of it that you probably don't see in the news is like a lot of farmers have now like lost entire crops of
you're right.
things. So I think the impact on like the bigger economy or the bigger like wider well-being of people is also just a thing for all of us in the neighborhoods to be aware of. Like, okay, that's I think folks are going to need help rebuilding things and rebuilding homes and reorienting themselves. So
that makes me think about when we talk about holding space with people, the timing of it too. Right? In the immediate space of what's happening, people could be rushing to be able to help, and help is needed. But it sounds like in this case, and I think sometimes in other situations, it's, where's the help going to be? Where are the people going to be a couple months from now? When there's the rebuilding, when this is going to just be like a long journey. So, and then something you said about, you guys have hurricane season, and there's something about knowing that hardship is a part of the rhythm. And so you learn how to be prepared, but not necessarily just in your resources, but in community and with people, and like, what is the chain of events, and checking in on each other, and when you know that hardship is a part of that rhythm. So that goes back to, how well do we do with embracing the fact that hardship is a part of life rhythm? And we need to prepare. You have like your resources, right? You're working on a savings account or something like that. But are you looking at your community as well, and allowing that community to be built, and you participating in that? Because hardship is a part of the rhythm of our lives as well. And
I wonder if a huge challenge, I mean, there's like, if you get into like, financial, or like security with money, food, housing. Okay, we all need those things to live, right?
Yeah.
But then the other element that I think comes up for me as you're sharing that is the security in community. Okay, I know, like, we have family, we have friends, we have neighbors. Like, there's a network of relationship that we have built over time. It didn't just happen instantaneously. It's not like we purchased it on Amazon and it got shipped to us, right? You can't fast track relational security and safety. But I'm also aware, like, not everyone has that privilege or that foundation. And so what do you do in crisis moments when somebody doesn't have that? Or when, I don't know, in, say, your wider community or faith community, there are people who are a little bit outliers, who like, okay, well, nobody's checking in on them. How do we make sure they are connected and safe and okay? But like, that goes back to relationships and mutuality and interdependence, like you were saying, that if you haven't fostered that for years, it's harder to survive crisis moments, and or you're more isolated. And then that's kind of like, it's a little bit too late, in the sense, like, you can't, like, suddenly have
like summon it
like
out
your
of
20
thin
friends
air.
who like know you.
Exactly. No.
So that's tricky.
Yeah. No, that is true. That is true. And just like anything, like when you're saving, you start where you start, and it takes time to build. So the same thing happens in relationship. Just start where you are.
Yeah, that's good.
And start building on that. And then also knowing, what is it, like, how can I hold space? What is it, the thing that I can do? And I'm all for being able to push ourselves out of our comfort zones, but it's like there's moments of stretching that happens. It's not like constantly. So maybe in the immediate, there isn't like a thing, but keep your eyes open, and maybe a month down the line, there's something, I can help in that. That I can help in. So maybe what you have to offer to help in that moment isn't what is needed. Let's not get discouraged about that. Yeah. Just keep checking in on that person like a month from now and say, hey, that thing that happened, that thing you went through, on the chicken, how are you doing? What's been going on with that? And as they share, maybe something else comes up and you realize, oh, wait a minute, I can help in that. And make the offer. You know what? I can introduce you to this person, or I actually know a lot about this. I'd love to sit down with you and share what I know. And like, that counts too. That also counts too. So yeah,
I like that. Start where you are with what you have, and I think you can go from there. Yep. Okay, I think we're gonna wrap this up in a moment, but a lot of times we talk about goat yoga moments that we've experienced recently. maybe there is a plan that we had or a way that we've been trying to live the serene-ish kind of life, but maybe life gets interrupted by something unexpected. So it might be a weather condition report, or it might be
for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks. That really did interrupt our plans. The kids were on spring break. So all the kids in the whole state had spring break this past week. And so that means that everybody's plans, had to shift
my goodness.
around. I think everyone survived, but oh my gosh. Let's see. Yeah. Are there any moments that come to our minds as, something that maybe felt disruptive or something we learned from a moment that we didn't expect? Any goat moments that emerged?
Yeah. So for me, I had a goat moment when it came to my pride. So Gerson runs at it's still dark outside when he gets up to go and run. And I think I've shared this before, how he likes to wear his headlamp and all the little reflectors. This guy is not getting hit by a car.
Wait, what time are we talking? What time is this?
5 a.m.,
Oh, man.
4:45, so I don't usually take a first session in my day until 10 a.m. So I'm just not I'm not functioning as well that early in the morning. Anyway, so this particular day, I knew I had an 8 a.m. meeting, and it had been really hot, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to get my run in because it was going to be too hot. So I decided last minute, literally the last minute, he was putting on his shoes downstairs, and I'm fighting with myself in the bed, fighting. And I roll out, whatever. Tell him, I'm going with you. He's all surprised, really? I quickly changed and whatnot, and we were out the door. And, he starts to run, and he just is in it. He's just going. And I'm like, oh, I guess we're just going. We're not warming this baby up. We're just going. And he just kept going. And I tell him the pace, and he's like, oh, wow. And then he still keeps going. And so we finished the run, and I asked him, is that the pace that you normally run? And he's like, no, actually he was running that pace to keep up with what he was feeling would be my pace, because I'm usually faster. And I was running to keep up with his pace because he's got to change and get ready to leave for work. I work from home. I have a little bit more flexibility, right? So we're both not communicating, but we're trying to keep up with each other's pace. So a little bit of a disruption. We finished a run. I think my brain was still in bed trying to figure out what happened. Later in the day, Mia, my daughter, she's looking through the Strava app, and she's like, yeah, he's fast. And I felt this thing in my soul that was, no, he's not. I am faster. No, look, Mom, look, right here he is. And no, I just kept arguing. And she's like, this is clearly offending you. I'm like, yes, it is very much offending me. So it became a whole thing. So the run was an entire goat moment. It was an entire disruption. And the fact that his pacing has been a little bit faster. I will make a formal announcement to my family that I went on a run this morning, and I ran longer than what he runs and faster. So I am now back on top, and all is well with the world.
I love this. And wait, this raises a question for me about you in your family. Who's the most competitive of the whole family? I know you guys play games, people race, you guys go on
Okay,
hikes.
here's the thing that shocked everybody. Because it wouldn't, this is not normal for this to come out of me. This would literally probably stay more in my head. But I was verbally having a problem with him. And I literally told him, game on. I am coming for you.
Whoa.
We got a 10K in May. I am coming for you. And he's like, what the heck? No, it wouldn't be. I think the more competitive people would be Brenson, our son, and then Gerson. But Mia and I, we're not good people to play board games with. We feel bad. You're out of hay and you're going to starve. I know the way to win is not give you hay, but if I have hay, I'm giving you the hay.
You're like, you're too nice. You're too nice in the game.
Too nice. I can't.
Oh, man.
And then when people are mean, like if I know you have hay and you're going to let this person starve, I will be looking at you and being like, how could you let this person starve right now? So, yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, wait. I think I'm going to share a story, and it also has to do with games, because you reminded me of how angry I was.
We don't have any competitive issues at all.
Okay.
None here.
So generally we have family game night. And the game, like whoever chooses the game rotates. So each person, on any given week gets to decide on a game. Okay. But generally we play hard. All of us, I think, we like to win. So we're all kind of competitive. But for me, it never feels like it reaches a threshold of like, I'm super mad afterwards, right? Okay. Except, so it all stays in the game, right? And once the game is done, everything is fine.
Yeah.
This past week, it happened a different way, where we were playing a certain game. It's the kind of game, this is so in the weeds, but it's the kind of game where it's like a hidden identity game. So everybody has a role. It's kind of like Mafia or Werewolf for folks who have played those things. It's called Secret Hitler, and it's one of our favorite games to play. So we play it a lot, and we're all very good about deceiving one another and lying and whatever. Okay. Within the game, I figured out who the bad team was in my brain. I was like, I know, like, based on all the facts that have happened within this game, I have the answer. And I'm like trying to communicate that to everybody else. And one of my daughters was like, I was pretty sure she was also on my team. So she should have, in theory, been listening to what I was saying, listening to my reasoning, and then voting with me. Okay, so that's just the setup. But she didn't. She didn't believe me. She believed other people in the game who were lying to her face. And she voted in a different way, and we lost, like, my team, including my daughter, we lost the game.
Oh.
And normally that's fine. Normally, like, it's okay, and we just move on and we play a different game or end the game or whatever. I was stewing.
Oh, no.
I was kind of shell shocked. My face looked like this. And I was so mad internally at my daughter. It was at her for not listening to me. And I had like a good 15 minutes of just internally like,
really?
I'm so mad at you. I can't believe you didn't listen to me. I didn't say all this.
Yeah.
But I was so mad. And then, the rest of our family is like laughing and debriefing the game in a fun way. And I'm just like, why are you so mad about this, Larissa? Like, but I think it was the fact that like we've had several rounds of this game recently where that's a similar dynamic has happened. So I think I need a little timeout for myself from these kinds of games, just to get a little bit of space so that it's not so emotionally fraught.
Yes.
But I thought that was a really funny, a funny moment for me. I'm not used to like that being so disruptive to my emotional world and inner life.
Right.
I seriously had to just work myself out of like a mad, bitter pity party that I was having.
Oh my God.
What?
Okay, and that tells you like the goat moments as disruptive that they can feel, even though we're laughing about them right now. Sometimes they're just what they are. It's just a goat just doing its thing. Other times it is an opportunity for us to be able to say, hey, maybe I need to hit pause on this. Because like you, what I started doing on my Strava app is I started hiding my pace on there. And I haven't been posting what my pace is. It's not like I'm just like crazy fast person. But I did it because this was a pace challenge that I was having. And I'm like, and today I would have loved, I really toyed with the idea of showing my pace as a nice passive aggressive way to tell my family, no, mom is still faster. But I made sure to not do it because this is not what running is for us, right? I need to recalibrate. We need to let's just calm down. And I had to think about, why did I get as reactive as I was? Let's just, like you said, let's just take a time out. And let's just remember what this is really, the whole point of this whole thing is. So
I love that. These are two great examples of relatively mature women trying our best to rise above the messiness, but also we have limits and we have ways that we're still learning and growing. And there's an effort given. We're trying to be reflective of what's happening inside of us in ways that we can learn from and be aware of how that comes out of us into, the outside world. But I think those are both great examples of we're trying our best. Life is serene-ish. It's not always all perfectly ordered. And those are really great opportunities to learn and to grow and sometimes just have a bit of humor and levity about ourselves. So thanks everybody for joining us for this conversation. I love being able to talk about fun things and lighthearted things and also deep things with you. So thanks everyone. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. We truly hope something we shared offered you a little bit of encouragement on your journey.
And if you're enjoying these conversations, we'd love to invite you to our Substack, the Serene-ish podcast.
It's where we dive even deeper with extra resources, reflections, and even a community chat where we can all keep the conversation going. Just head to the sereneishpodcast.substack.com and join us.
Until next time, remember to look for peace, even if it's just a serene-ish kind.